Step inside a world of absolute luxury where gold-lined halls, breathtaking chandeliers, and lavish salons tell the story of power, art, and excess. The Palace of Versailles, more than just a royal residence, it was a testament to the world. Every detail a masterpiece, every corner a glimpse into the extravagant life of kings and queens. From the dazzling hall of mirrors to the secrets hidden within its walls, join us as we uncover the grandeur, the history, and the opulence of Versailles like never before. Within the vast estates of Versailles, the Grand Commune is a masterpiece of French architecture. Built in 1682 by Jules Mansart, it once housed royal staff members, craftsmen, and soldiers, keeping the palace running behind the scenes. Step into a room where history and luxury collide. A place where sunlight dances across the walls of glass, where whispers of royalty still linger in the air. Welcome to the Hall of Mirrors, Versailles' most breathtaking masterpiece. Built in the late 17th century for the legendary Sun King Louis XIV, this hall was more than just a walkway. It was a symbol of absolute power, with 357 gleaming mirrors, reflecting the grandeur of gold-lined ceilings and marble statues. It was designed to impress, to intimidate, and to showcase the wealth of France to the world. But beyond its beauty, this hall has witnessed the rise and fall of empires. And even now, the echoes of history still resonate within these walls. A masterpiece of art, architecture, and ambition, the Hall of Mirrors isn't just a room, it's a reflection of a golden era, frozen in time. A room built not for peace but for power, a hall where kings were glorified, victories immortalized, and France's enemies humbled. This is the War Room of Versailles, a monument to conquest, ambition, and the unstoppable reign of Louis XIV. Today, the War Room stands frozen in time, a gilded battlefield where history was written in stone and gold, a tribute to once king's ambition and a kingdom at its peak. The Peace Room at Versailles is a masterpiece of gold, marble, and diplomacy. Designed in the late 1600s, it mirrors the War Room, but instead of battle, it celebrates harmony. A reminder that true power is not just won in war, but secured in peace. The King's State Apartments at Versailles were built to dazzle, public rooms where power and ceremony unfolded, with gilded carvings, marble columns, and frescoes of gods and kings. Every detail proclaimed the grandeur of Louis XIV's reign. The Hercules salon is one of Versailles' most breathtaking rooms, a masterpiece of Baroque grandeur. Originally a chapel, it was transformed into a lavish reception hall by Louis XV. With marble columns, gilded moldings, and monumental paintings, the Hercules salon remains a true testament to Versailles' opulence and artistic mastery. The Room of Abundance, a dazzling prelude to Versailles' royal apartments. Once a gathering space for courtiers, it overflowed with exotic treasures, fine porcelains, and luxurious refreshments. Golden stucco rich marble, and a ceiling painting glorifying abundance itself makes this room a true symbol of Versailles' wealth and splendor. A dazzling tribute to beauty and love, adorned with marble, gilded sculptures, and a painting ceiling depicting Venus, goddess of desire. This salon was a symbol of royal magnificence. The Mars Room, once a royal guard room and a tribute to war and power. Gilded carvings, rich red marble, and a grand ceiling depict Mars, the god of war, embodying strength and conquest. Once a royal guard room, this salon reflected the might of Louis XIV, the Sun King, whose rule was as commanding as the decor surrounding him. Here art and authority merged into a spectacle of grandeur. The Mercury Room, once the king's ceremonial bedchamber, yet more a stage for power than for rest. Its lavish silver decor, now lost to history, once gleamed under candlelight, embodying wealth beyond measure. Above, Mercury, the messenger of gods, soars across the ceiling, symbolizing speed, intellect, and divine rule. A room where Versailles' grandeur spoke louder than words. The Apollo Room, the grandest of the king's state apartments, a throne room fit for the Sun King himself. Gilded relief, marble pilasters, and a breathtaking ceiling depict Apollo, the god of the sun, reflecting Louis XIV's vision of absolute power. At the heart of Versailles lies the king's private bedroom, the most sacred space of royal life. Here beneath a gilded canopy, Louis XIV began and ended each day in a carefully choreographed ritual, the levee and couche, watched by select courtiers. With opulent decor, intricate tapestries, and the Sun King's emblem woven into every detail, this was more than a bedroom. It was the very symbol of absolute monarchy. The Bullseye Room, a hidden gem of Versailles, named after its large circular window. This intimate space was a retreat for royalty, where Louis XIV held private meetings and watched court life unfold. The Council Room, where the fate of a kingdom was decided. Louis XIV and his ministers gathered to shape the future of France. The Coronation Room, a space of grandeur, history, and power, dominated by Jacques Louis' masterpiece depicting Napoleon's coronation. This room tells the story of ambition, monarchy, and spectacle. Gilded moldings, towering columns, and a rich red drapery set the stage for one of France's most defining moments, a reminder that Versailles was not just a palace, but a witness to history itself. The Royal Chapel of Versailles, a masterpiece of sacred grandeur, with soaring columns, gilded carvings, and a breathtaking ceiling depicting the glory of God. This chapel was the spiritual heart of the palace. Louis XIV and his court attended daily mass, where divine right and absolute monarchy were intertwined in a spectacle of faith and power. This is the Gallery of Battles, Versailles' most imposing hall. and a tribute to centuries of French military glory. Spanning over 120 meters, this breathtaking gallery is adorned with immense paintings, each depicting decisive victories that shaped the destiny of France. From the triumphs of Charlemagne to the battles of the Revolutionary and Napoleonic eras, every brushstroke tells a story of power, ambition, and conquest. The walls whisper darker stories. The paintings that adorn these halls are more than decorations. They're chronicles of war, blood, and sacrifice. Marble busts of legendary commanders stand solemnly, immortalized in history, while golden light spills from the grand windows, illuminating the legacy of kings and generals. The Table of Lost Generals is a solemn reminder that every victory carried a price. Etched here are the names of those who never returned from battle. Battles rage across the canvases, kings and generals clash, and empires are built on the suffering of countless souls. Yet through the violence, these works glorify power, transforming the brutality of history into timeless art. Here beauty and bloodshed stand side by side, forever etched into the legacy of Versailles. From the thunder of armies, we step into a world of grace and refinement. The Queen's Guard Room was the first line of defense to her private apartments. Imagine rows of loyal guards stationed here, their presence a constant reminder of both importance and a vulnerability. Today, the room feels calm and elegant, but centuries ago, it was a place of vigilance, where protection and protocol shaped every moment. The Queen's bedroom feels like stepping into a royal dream, draped in silk, framed with gold, and crowned with a ceiling of painted skies. It was more than just a place to sleep, yet daily life played out as a ceremony, where even waking up and going to bed became a performance of power and elegance. Beneath glittering chandeliers and gilded walls, nobles mingled, plotted, and vied for influence, each moment a performance in the grand theatre of court life. The royal table antechamber was no ordinary dining room. Here meals were transformed into public ceremonies, where the king himself became the centerpiece of the feast. Imagine the scene. Nobles and courtiers gathered, watching as every gesture, every bite, was performed with ritual precision. At Versailles, even dinner wasn't just about food, it was about power, elegance. The Empire rooms at Versailles tell a new chapter in the palace's history. The age of Napoleon. After the revolution, Versailles no longer served as a royal residence, but under Napoleon, it was reborn with bold red and gold decor. These rooms blend the old grandeur of the palace with the ambition of a new empire. marking Versailles' transformation from the home of kings to a symbol of France's enduring power. In these canvases, the story of Napoleon unfolds with striking intensity. One scene captures the brutal struggle of his campaigns abroad, where victory was hard-won and resistance fierce. Another shows the birth of a new order, as honors and symbols of loyalty cemented his power. And in a moment of pure political drama, Napoleon rises above the chaos to seize control of France's destiny. Together, these paintings transform the Empire rooms into a gallery of ambition, conquest, and the making of an emperor. The 1792 room carries the heartbeat of a nation in revolt. Here the art and relics honor the volunteers who rose from every corner of France, leaving behind families, homes, and futures to fight for liberty. The sacrifice marked the fall of monarchy and the dawn of a new order. In this room, Versailles no longer speaks of kings and queens, but of citizens, of struggle, and of the unshakable hope that gave to modern France. The historic galleries of France turn Versailles into a living museum of the nation's past. His sweeping canvases stretch across the walls, capturing battles, revolutions, and triumphs that shaped French identity. From kings and emperors to soldiers and citizens, these galleries weave 4 centuries of history into a single grand narrative, reminding every visitor that Versailles is not just a palace but a mirror of France itself. These antechambers of Madame Victoire, daughter of Louis XV, were spaces of waiting and conversation, elegant rooms that reveal a more personal, intimate side of life at Versailles. And then, there's the large office of Madame Victoire, which was both elegant and practical, a space where a princess balanced royal grace with the duties of daily life at Versailles. And next, step into Madame Victoire's bedroom, warm, elegant and refined, draped in silk and gilded decor. It reflects the grace and comfort of a princess who called Versailles home. And in Madame Victoire's private chamber and library, the palace feels more personal, surrounded by books, music and fine decor. This was a retreat. Welcome to the rooms of Madame Adelaide, one of Louis XV's most spirited daughters. These spaces blend elegance with intimacy, from a refined bedroom to a private cabinet and library. Here she read, played music, and shaped court life in her own quiet but powerful way. The salon of the Hoctons was more than just a room. It was the post of the royal guards, the Hoctons, who once stood as silent protectors of the king. Their presence here was a constant reminder of power, loyalty, and vigilance. While the gilded walls and historic air whisper of grandeur, the true weight of this space lies in the memory of those who dedicated their lives to guarding the sovereign within the Palace of Versailles. These rooms tell the story of 4 centuries of French history, from kings and queens to revolutions and empires. The galleries were designed by Louis Philippe to turn Versailles into a museum for all of France. Each painting and sculpture captures a moment that shaped the nation. The Palace of Versailles is more than just gold and marble. It's the very embodiment of a quest for greatness. Every hall, every painting, every sculpture was designed to project power, glory, and the timeless legacy of France. Here, ambition was carved into stone and history was painted across the walls. At Versailles, every detail spoke of devotion to God and to the king. The gardens of Versailles weren't just made to be beautiful, they were engineered to impress. Designed by André, every path, fountain, and grove follows a strict geometry, stretching out in perfect symmetry from the palace. Its nature reshaped into order, a reflection of the Sun King's vision of control and harmony. Step into the historic galleries of France, where every painting, sculpture, and room celebrates the glories of the nation. Versailles isn't just about kings and queens, it's a showcase of French art, history, and culture, telling stories of triumphs, power, and elegance that shaped the country for centuries. Once the apartments of the Princes of the Blood, these rooms were transformed by Louis Philippe in 1833 into the Museum of History of France, inaugurated just 4 years later. The design you see today dates back to after the Second World War, but the spirit of the 17th century still lingers. Velvet walls, rich colors, and galleries filled with paintings. Sculptures and fine objects recreate both the grandeur of royal apartments and the solemnity of a national museum. The story of Louis XIV's reign unfolds across 10 rooms, from his childhood to his final days. Here portraits and allegories bring to life the great figures of his court and the defining events of the 17th century, political, military and artistic. Masterpieces by Lebrun, Mignard, Van der Meulen and others sit alongside more intimate works, offering every possible view of the Sun King and his world. From official grandeur to private moments, together they create a vivid portrait of an era where art and power were inseparable. These sculptures celebrate movement and power, echoing Louis XIV's image as the Sun King. Here myth and monarchy unite, a vision of divine energy carved in stone. Inside the palace, statues like winter and summer embody the passing of the seasons in stone. Draped in allegory, they remind us that even time and nature were brought into harmony under the Sun King's vision. More than decoration, they're silent witnesses to Versailles' grand design, where art and power were one. Visit to Versailles is complete without a souvenir, from books and postcards to fine replicas, perfumes and gilded trinkets. Each piece captures a fragment of the palace's grandeur, a way to carry home not just an object, but a memory of the world of kings and queens.